Numbers can be deceiving. Looking at the box scores don't do anybody justice. Whether it's players looking to secure max contracts and only care about individual stats, nothing on helping their teams win, Michael Adams of the 1991 Nuggets, all offense, absolutely zero defense, maybe the most exciting 20-win team all time, giving up a disgusting 131 points back in the day. How about Jerry Stackhouse, a near 30-point season 2001 with Detroit after getting rid of him for Rip Hamilton? No accident how the Pistons instantly became contenders. There's a reason why guys like Kelly Oubre Jr. and Christian Wood were free agents until nearly the start of the season. Oubre impressing with Philly now, 13 points a game score. Wood on and off with the Lakers, depending how Darvin Ham feels about him. Colin Sexton used to average over 24 a game in 2021, the poster boy for empty stats, now a reduced role in Utah. So what are empty stats? Defined as inefficient volume scores, such as dropping 40 points looking great on paper, but if those percentages low on an awful team, teammates don't get their fair touches, those players simply fail to make their team better. Also, players notably for playing no defense, and the win-loss wouldn't be as significant without them. At times, teams start playing better after those guys get traded. Here are the biggest empty stats players in the NBA today. Starting with Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls, it's evident the franchise gotta trade him at this point, and the disgusting contract. Already his 10th season, 4 total playoff games, 1 postseason contest win. That tells us exactly what you need to know. The now 28-year-old simply can't lead a team successfully. 18 games this season, lackluster 21 points, 44% shooting, over 16 shots. A negative on D, the Bulls 5-13 with him. How about that 51 piece, the 16-point loss to the terrible Pistons, a team that proceeded to not win a game for more than 2 months later. LaVine never quite really had a positive plus-minus season, and the Bulls gave him the max, getting paid the same amount as Luka Doncic, an absolute travesty. Being on awful teams most of his career, a 2-11 win and 363 loss career record, yikes. Going over 500 just one time, never learned the intangibles to squeeze everything out of a single possession, and playing both sides of the ball. Too much hero ball tendencies, needs a playmaking point guard to maximize his strengths like catch and shoot, attacking closeouts, and slashing to the rim. With a guy like Lonzo Ball, LaVine can easily get 30 points without the turnovers and bad possessions, jacking up awful shots. Despite the godly athleticism and insane dunks, especially early in his career, it's clear he wants out of Chicago. Tempers flare, Bulls fans excited for more Kobe White action, simply meshes better with the team. At this point, many don't want to see LaVine play in a Bulls uniform again, but one of the hardest guys to trade, simply a rich man's J.R. Smith, is what LaVine truly is. Nowhere close to a first option, would serve as a number 3 or a nice 6-man bucket getter, way too one-dimensional. If he does play again with the Bulls and ruins their chemistry, fails to buy in, teams will absolutely stay away and he'll never hear the end of it. Jalen Green of the Houston Rockets, the soon-to-be 22-year-old hasn't taken that third-year leap from one of the worst teams a season ago to still being inefficient as a starter, 17-point average on 40% shooting, inefficient volume scorer. This Rockets team, with the addition of the better Fred VanVleet, defensive Dillon Brooks, and building around Alperen Şengün, Green's clearly an afterthought now, the team chemistry looking too advanced for him. Green lots of talents, but still feels like he's playing high school ball out there against NBA polished guys. Relies heavily on speed and athleticism, don't have a deep back. His ceiling might be an even less efficient Zach LaVine, being asked to play gritty, do the little things, and make his team better without being in the spotlight, but still trying to play like he's the guy when it's clear Şengün's the one. Having 2 years of Steven Silas, allowing Green to pick up bad habits, looking uncertain and overthinking plays. On his cold nights, simply the worst player on the floor. Will Houston even want to offer him big money after the rookie contract? Highly doubtful. Terry Rozier of the Charlotte Hornets, an afterthought, a small market team. After his time with Boston, already year 5 of the Hornets, a 20-point scorer, subpar efficiency, shoots the rock 19 times a game, career high 23.6 points, likes the ball a little too much, leading to bad shot selection. A solid role player, especially proven in the 2018 playoffs, starting for the injured Kyrie, but way too overly confident, pretty much an undersized shooting guard. Can drop 25 one night on high efficiency, but also shoots his team out of the gym at nights, especially the 2 of 14 shooting Game 7, 2018 at home versus Cleveland. 0 of 10 from 3, but from time to time can hit some clutch shots. If his jumper's not falling, simply a negative on the court, but a respectable contract in the mid $20 million range until 2026. Jordan Poole of the Washington Wizards, the poster boy for empty calories. Unwatchable, unbearable, Mr. Chuckmaster makes some of the most boneheaded plays. Some thought he'd be capable of averaging 30 points a game on a bad team, but somehow even worse numbers. Absolute roller coaster. Can drop 30 one night, hit 6 trays, next game literally scored just 5 points on 2 baskets. One of the most immature players on the court, got his ring and money. Will be awfully hard to trade. Washington dealing with Bradley Beal's huge contract to now Poole, the biggest meme NBA team, just keeps on giving. From thinking he can do the thing Steph Curry does, Poole became the most delusional player. Got way too full of himself, developed a cocky attitude, supposed to be the third Flash brother, more like a trash brother in Washington, already rubbed his teammates the wrong way, and Draymond sending him to another dimension. Instead of playing winning basketball, trying to make every single play like a highlight reel, getting that 9-figure contract. Washington, no intentions having Poole part of their future. Having Shaq and the Fool producers work overtime, a total embarrassment. Playing with Golden State, a luxury he simply took for granted. Now he'll pile up with more losses to having legends of the game say he shouldn't even be in the league.
He does not belong in the league.
From turning the ball over repeatedly, taking bad shots, plays no defense, a bad attitude, so much for all that talent. For every superstar move he brings, there's always an air ball, brick, and multiple bad defensive plays to happen next. With teams having a game plan for him, Poole simply melts under pressure, needs to reinvent his game, needs to get his confidence back. But the damage might have already been done. When it's all said and done, Poole might just go down as the all-time leader in MPG memes per game. Kyle Kuzma, easily the best player on the Wizards in his prime at 28, also super up and down. That's the price the Wizards pay for having the light-skinned bros. 23-point average at the 4 years 102, not really a guy that complements 2 superstars when he had LeBron and Davis. Kuz somewhat of an afterthought for the 2020 title team. Those Lakers still likely win the title without him in similar fashion. Just a good scorer, but this is the result you get with him being the first option. Lots of losses. None of his fashion style helps his younger teammates get better in any way. The opposite of a glue guy, struggle spotting up, more of a 13 points a game scorer, 6 rebound guy on a contender, not quite the big name any good team wants. Anfernee Simons of the Portland Trail Blazers, already age 24, having all the green lights, first 11 contests, 27-point average, 21 shot attempts, 2 and 9 in games played, not good on defense, can't guard the 1 or the 2. The only guys he can guard are the corner shooters who can't dribble, but those players usually a lot taller than 6'3", can shoot over him with ease. His skill set replicated by too many other good players today, making in the mid 20 million range. Portland not in a hurry to move him. Franchise looking like they'll look to raise his trade value, and if Scoot doesn't pan out, Portland can still have Simon, who's relatively young enough to be around next to Shady and Sharp throughout the decade. Regardless of the 30-point games, his name will continue being swept under the rug until Portland starts to look serious again. Team still with no identity, post-Dame era, no alpha dogs, as Coach Chauncey Billups describes. Simon might just end up being on a good team, embracing a 6-man role later on, still getting 30 minutes a game, his ceiling looking like a prime Bradley Beal, but as for being the best player on a playoff team, not looking like it. Jeremy Grant of the Portland Trail Blazers, ever since taking his talents to Detroit after leaving Jokic and the Nuggets, been on bad teams ever since, was a 12-point a game scorer as a backup to averaging over 22 with the terrible Pistons, needing somebody to score, the second option under Dame a season ago, 20-point average, Grant simply don't move the needle, more like the fourth option on a championship team, signing a ridiculous 5-year $160. Who knew good stats can get somebody paid north of 20 mil? To his credit, never complained publicly, so it seems like he'll just take the most money he can get. By losing many games on a bad team, difficult to trade for him, not a good playmaker, below average rebounder for his size, in the middle of his prime, who knows when Grant will ever get a chance to play in the postseason again. Cam Thomas of the Brooklyn Nets, his team ain't going nowhere, not good enough to compete amongst the best squads, not bad enough to be in the bottom. 22 years old, absolutely fearless, will have many future game winners down the line. 24 games, 22.4 point average, 7 of the 8 games he's played this season, scoring above 25. Brooklyn's 1-7 in those contests, had a 3-game stretch, scoring 40 plus last season, then having minutes go down and even some DNPs, totally disappearing, then having okay games. One of those players who can do one thing, only score, get buckets, and put the ball in the hole. Takes many selfish shots while being bad on defense, an ISO guy who takes middies, tends to over dribble, doesn't read the game well yet. The definition of AAU basketball, with the years going by, it's 2024. Many GMs smart enough to realize points per game not the best way to evaluate players. Thomas very similar to the latter years of Jamal Crawford, such as the game he dropped 51 with the Suns as a 39-year-old. If Thomas's shots off, he simply can't adjust and easily become the most detrimental player on the floor, but once he improves on the intangibles, will be much more respected. Way too one-dimensional right now, but doesn't mean he can't get better. Honorable mentions includes Jordan Clarkson and Bogey Bogdanovic on bad teams, Utah and Detroit, both terrible. Bogdanovic proved himself as a good offensive player in the playoffs for Utah, a second and third option, while Nikola Vucevic of the Bulls shooting 45% from the field for a center. After seeing backup Andre Drummond dominate in the lineup, many Bulls fans want Vooch gone and rather roll with Drummond. Which one of these players would you consider the king of empty stats in 2024? Let me know in the comments below. More great NBA stuff to come. See you next time.